Teofimo Lopez, if you don't knock it off talking about you want Bud Crawford. I just seen you and your daddy, and y'all yelled, why didn't we offer you $20 million? So you can imagine what you'd be talking about to fight Bud Crawford. Listen, act like you got some sense. You hear that money counter in the background. Act like you got some sense, and we can make Haney versus Lopez for that 140-pound unification. Yeah, baby. Act like you got some sense. And stop talking about Bud Crawford. You don't want none of Bud Crawford, and you don't deserve none. Knock it off. Talk like you got some sense.
Wow. Bill Haney puts Teofimo Lopez on Front Street. He says he don't want no rump, he don't want no smoke with Terence Bud Crawford, and he need to act right and get that Devin fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. That was Bill Haney, and he just dropped that on his social media. Bill Haney sends a very direct message to Teofimo Lopez. He says, you capping. You keep claiming you want Terence Crawford, and he's saying the world knows you don't want no smoke with Terence Bud Crawford. He's basically saying, yo, Teofimo, in the past you said you would fight us, but to fight us, you wanted $20 million to fight Devin Haney. So if you were asking for this astronomical number to fight Devin back in the day, how much would you really be asking for to fight against none other than Terence Bud Crawford? And I gotta agree with Bill Haney right there, because we know Devin Haney was pushing that line. He was pushing a hard line on Teofimo Lopez. He wanted all the smoke, and Teofimo was fronting Devin Haney off. There was even a meetup in Fresno, I believe, at the Mikey Garcia fight. And Teofimo, he was saying all these things without saying, let's fight. And that's like one of the reasons Devin Haney says they say everything, but let's fight. So I agree with Bill Haney there. I think Devin Haney was definitely pressing the issue, trying to get a fight with Teofimo Lopez. Now, the crazy thing is, I don't really know where Teofimo's overall head is. He has an upcoming fight with Jermaine Ortiz. I'm not mad at the fight. I think that's a good fight. Jermaine Ortiz is working with Bill Haney, and he's a great fighter. I thought Jermaine Ortiz beat Vasily Lomachenko, quiet as kept. But the judges seen it another way and gave Lomachenko the fight. What can you expect from old media? So Jermaine Ortiz, that's a tough fight. So it seemed to me, it seems like Teofimo would be better suited, like just focusing on his upcoming fight, because he's literally fighting in less than a month on ESPN. But instead, he's doing interviews and he's talking about he black. Like Teofimo, I posted on my story, you guys could check it. Teo said he's black from the waist down. He's like, how can people say that I'm racist when I'm fighting like a black fighter, you know? And like, I will give that to Teo. I think he has some rhythm. You know, he fights an American style, so he definitely has rhythm like a brother in terms of boxing. You've seen him when he was with Josh Taylor. He was getting off, and he has some footwork. And sometimes in his training sessions, you see Teofimo dancing and showing some footwork, having fun in the gym. So I give him that. But as far as him saying he's black, I don't know. I think that's a deflection from the initial statement that he made, where he said ESPN, they can keep the blacks. They can keep the black fighters, which did his brand no service, because Teofimo's always listening to J. Cole and Drake and music like that, hip hop music, black artists. But then that was a weird comment to say about ESPN, they can keep the blacks. So I don't know why he said that. I don't know if someone talked to him, but you know, it is what it is. Make sure you follow the channel, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest of boxing. Now, I already made a video about it. Teofimo Lopez, he randomly started taking shots at Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford did respond. Haven't had a chance to make a video, but if you want me to make a video about that, leave me a comment and just type Bud response. Bud response in the comment section. And if enough people do that, that'll signal me to make that video about what Terence Crawford said in response. But Terence Crawford was called out in more or less words by Teofimo Lopez. He did that new recent interview, and Teofimo Lopez says that Crawford's resume is buns. His resume, he's always fighting handicapped people, and he always has some type of advantage when he's fighting them. This is what Teofimo Lopez said. And I will give credit, what he said makes sense. It does make sense because he even gave examples. He said he fought Jose Benavidez back in the day. Jose Benavidez got shot in the leg. That's a fact. He says back in the day he fought Kell Brook. I believe that was in 2020. Kell Brook had bad eyes, both of them, 2 eyes. One from Gennady Golovkin. Had no guys, had boxes, big dramas, punches, guys from Kazakhstan. Right? Triple G did a number on Kell Brook and his eye, and he was forced to, they threw in the towel basically. So basically, realistically, he didn't have no chocolate brownies for Errol Spence or Triple G. Those were his first 2 professional losses, so his eyes got bashed up. So far, Teofimo is 2-0 when it comes to Bud Crawford of telling the truth. And then lastly, he's talking about Errol Spence. He said Errol Spence just came out and said he had cataracts and it impaired his vision basically, and that's why he got hit with so many jabs and hooks and, you know, couldn't get out the way of certain shots. So it is what it is. If you believe Errol Spence there, I mean, he did show footage of him being carted out with a patch and gauze and tape over his eye. So I don't see a reason why Errol Spence would be lying. Errol Spence has been a man of his word throughout his career, like saying, I'll clean up my side of the street. And then after that, then me and Terence Crawford could fight. And he did just that. He said he would come back to fight Manny Pacquiao or Ugas, whoever wins the fight. And he did just that. So far, so good. Errol Spence has been a man of his word. I'm going to take him at face value and take what he's saying into consideration, that he literally had issues with his eye, like in terms of the cataracts. I mean, that's not to say that he would have beat Terence Crawford without that, but he had a detached retina, and it's kind of common sense. Flew through a car, detached retina. It's not a surprise he's had eye injuries since that wreck. So Teofimo does have a point. Now, that being said, Teofimo, he might want to pause and chill a little bit on fighting Terence Crawford, because aside from Terence Crawford responding to him, Terence Crawford definitely, since they're in the same profession, will probably want to fight him, because Terence Crawford at a point in time, he mentioned Tank Davis can come up to my weight, 147, and get it. So Teofimo is an actual, like, he's much bigger than Tank. So if Terence Crawford was down to fight Tank, who's like 5'5" and at 135, and Teofimo is fighting at 140 pounds, which has been the case for several fights, then I can see Terence Crawford maybe wanting to entertain this and spank Teofimo and show him a lesson. Let me know what you guys think. If Terence Crawford were to fight Teofimo, would you give Teofimo Lopez any chance? With how Bud performs on fight nights, it's kind of hard to have Teofimo as a favorite. But hey, at the end of the day, Teofimo, he would do his share of making people believe and trash talking, and he did look exceptional at 140 versus Josh Taylor, but 140 is not 147. So seeing is believing. I would have to see him fight Crawford. I don't know how realistic that is, but at the end of the day, I definitely would pay for the fight because it's 2 big names and it would be a pretty intense buildup. But I think a more realistic fight is what Bill Haney said, a fight with Devin Haney. This is something that's been going on for quite some time. People have wanted to see Devin Haney, and you know, this Terence Crawford business, it's not a video game. This man's in a different weight class. Terence will be a favorite over Teofimo, especially him losing to Kambosos. So at the end of the day, I think the more realistic fight would be a Devin Haney unification, and I would also pay for that. Let me know what you guys think. Check out some of the other videos that I've done on the channel. Subscribe to Boxing Ego, the best in the business, and it's not even close. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Let me know what you guys think of Teofimo recently calling out Terence Crawford. Is he clout chasing, or does he really want smoke with Bud? Bill Haney says he's capping. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. You dig.